श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्के केसरी वेदांताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि श्रीवासरङ्गपरकालमुनित्रयाप्तलक्ष्मात्मरक्षणयतीर्थयुगागमान्तम् आचार्यभक्तिपरिपूतमनर्घशीलं गोपालदेशिकमुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः। पराशरमुनिं वन्दे कृतपौर्वाण्यकक्रियं मैत्रेयपरिपप्रच्छ प्रणिपद्याभिवाद्य च. So we have been enjoying sage Parasara's narration to sage Maitreya. Maitreya prostrated and bowed down to his guru, his Acharyan Parasara, and then sought to learn about the Srishti, about the Vamsams, about the lineage, about any questions he had in his mind. So we were enjoying the Vaishnava Lakshanams in the last few weeks, and then the Aururva Smriti. So sage Parasara was narrating to sage Maitreya about Bhishmacharya, who instructed the Varnashrama Dharmam to Nakulan, one of the Panchapandavas, Nakulan. So Yudhishthira, Bhiman, Arjunan, Nakulan, Sahadevan. So Nakulan, he was talking about the do's and don'ts of a Varnashrama Dharma, which is called Aururva Smriti, and it is as narrated by sage Parasara. And this particular Aururva Smriti is a text, is the narration from sage Aururva to King Sagaran. King Sagaran, of course, King Sagaran, when I read about or refer about King Sagaran, I am reminded of the Bhagirath, because Sagaran was a king. He performed Ashwamedha Yajna, in which they let the horse go, and they would go behind the horse, the warriors, the princess, the king, and wherever the horse goes, that that neighborhood needs to be conquered. So the very many sons, about the 1,000 children of this Sagaran, went behind the horse, and they went into the Patala Lokam, the lower world, and then they saw Kapila Munivar, sage Kapila, and he was performing tapas, and they performed apacharam because they wanted to ask him where did the horse go. So they committed apacharam to sage Kapila, and Kapila Muni, because of his tapas, because of his penance, because of the power, he gave a curse to these 1,000 sons of Sagaran to become ash, to get burnt, and they became. And after very many thousands of years, Bhagiratha was born in that kulam, in that lineage, very many thousands of years. And we heard from Bhagiratha life that Bhagiratha wanted to know how to get these papam cured of his ancestors who were made ashes by this sage. How to cure, how to prevent that. So he was told that he needs to perform tapas, heavy penance, severe penance. So the king Bhagiratha, he performed tapas continuously for very many years. Perum tavam, kadum tavam, very strong penance. And of course Ganga came from the heavens, from the matted locks of Rudra, and it came down to reach Bhagiratha. And we know the story, you can read about the story later. So what our Swami Vedanta Desika in a slokam, in a stotra called Dayasatakam, he talks about this Bhagiratha who comes in the lineage of Sagaran, King Sagaran. The sage Aururvar is narrating the Varnashrama instruction, the Dharma of Varnashramam, to King Sagaran, and that reminded me of to talk about the Bhagirath, because Vedanta Desika, who just lived 750 years back, he talks about Bhagirath when he was paying his namaskaram, his obeisance, his prostrations to our sage Parasara. Sage Parasara is the one who blessed us with Vishnu Puranam. Because of that, we are fortunate to listen to all these true incidents which were narrated, recorded by sage Parasara. And sage Parasara is none other than the grandson of Vasishta, the son of Shakti, and the father of Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, and the grandfather of Shuka, sage Shuka Brahma. Sage Shuka Brahma is the one who blessed us with Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasa is the one who blessed us with Mahabharata, the Vishnu Sahasranama. And of course, he is the one who compiled all these 18 Puranas, Satvika Puranas, Rajasa Puranas, Tamasa Puranas. He is the one who wrote the Brahma Sutram, the 545 Sutrams. And so, they are all the great lineage. Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram, Shakte Pautram Akalmasham, Parasarat Majam Vande, Shuka Tatam Tapo Nidhim. And that lineage, our Vedanta Desika talks about in Daya Satakam, because of the Daya, because of the compassion, the grace, the Arul, the mercy of Perumal, the Lord Trivenkatamuttaya. Because of Sriman Narayana's grace, these rishis came to bless us. Parashara Mukhan Vande Bhagirata Naye Stitan Kamala Kanta Karunya Ganga Plavida Madvidan. Here he talks about, I now hail, praise the glory of the sages like Parasarar. I hail, I glorify, I bow, I prostrate, I pay namaskaram to all these rishis who are as beautiful and glorious as sage Parashara. He talks about Parashara because he is the one who blessed us with the first Puranam, Vishnu Puranam. And it is unparalleled, peerless Vishnu Puranam. It is these sages, who brought the purifying Puranams to us to clean us of our papams. Just like Bhagirath, who took the great effort of performing penance, strong penance, heavy penance, kadum tapas, and brought the Ganga, purifying Ganga, to get rid of the papam of his ancestors who were ashes, and they became alive after very many years. So sage Parasara through Vishnu Puranam, sage Vyasa through Mahabharata, Brahma Sutram, Sahasranamam, Bhagavad Gita, and everything, Puranams, sage Shuka through Srimad Bhagavatam. They all gave this wonderful Ganga, which is the purifying stuff, purifying Puranas, purifying the works, the Granthams, the scripts, for us to get saved. And what an effort which they have done, just like Bhagirath. So they stand like Bhagirath. And that is why he says, Parashara Mukhan Vande Bhagirath Naye Stitan Kamala Kanta Karunya Ganga Plavita Madvidan. Our immersion in the Ganga flow, our immersion in the Ganga river of their works. Their works are like Ganga, which is a purifying thing. By reading the useless stuff, by reading all our newspapers, the internet, the global stuff, all these are of no use. Our immersion in the Ganga flow of their Granthams, Parashara, Vyasa, Shuka, Valmiki, all these rishis, is similar to Bhagirath. Bhagirath's Ganga immersed the ashes of his forefathers and resurrected them to go to Swargam. the purifying flow, the figurative Ganga. The figurative Ganga to represent the works of these sages, the holy epics, the Puranas, the Brahma Sutrams, everything. They will drown the Mahapapis like us, like me, that we remain like ashes, completely a vegetable, without life, without proper activity. Without life means we are not living the life which is what we are meant for. We have a mind, we have a conscience, we have a power of perception, we have a power of discrimination, but that doesn't make any difference in our life. We live like a typical vicious cycle. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iga samsare bhagudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare. Adi Shankara writes in Bhajagovindam. He says birth, punarapi, birth again, death again, again birth, again death. And he mentions after, he says all those Advaitam, all those Nirvikaram, all those Nirvishesha, Nirguna Brahman, all those Jnanam, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, and after everything, he mentions now that Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate, O foolish mind. This samsaram is bahudustare, too much dukkam. If you think that you are enjoying life, it is like a golden cage, full of gold and diamonds and gem-bedecked cage. You are still in a cage, whether it's an iron cage or a golden cage. So, Kripaya pare pahi murare. Ye Murari, please show mercy on us. So, without real realization, without a correct vision, with sensual knowledge, running amok behind the material pursuits, with a sensual experience as our activity, we are no better than the ashes of Sagara's sons. We are in the same situation. So, the sages are like Bhagirath, who gave us these wonderful works for us to be blessed. So enough said, we will go into the Varnashrama Dharma. Here, the Varnashrama Dharma, which we touched upon last week, I would like to continue on that because I simply love this. This Varnashrama Dharma is completely misunderstood, misconstrued or misconceived. They completely mislead us because we wrongly understand that. Even Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, he says, Chaturvanyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhakashaka tasya karta ramapi mam vidya kartaramam avyayam avyayam. So, Chaturvanyam, the system of 4 classes, which is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Ashramam, which is Brahmacharyam, Grahasthashram, Vanaprastham, Sannyasam. These 4 classes, which is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. They are with the variations of the gunas, because of the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas guna variation and the duties associated to them, the work associated to them because of their birth, in that particular birth. It's nothing to do with Atma. It is to the body which they have taken. And Maya, by me, Srishtam was created. The system of 4 classes was created by me based on their duties, based on their gunas. Tasya kartaramapi, though the creator of these, the imperishable, avyayam, mam. So, the 4 classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, of these Brahmanas' quality is predominantly Sattva Guna. I hope so. Predominantly. And the duties are controlling the sense organ, controlling the mind, learning Vedas, teaching sastrams, performance of austerities. Try to be pure. The quality of rajas predominates in the Kshatriya Kula. Controlling others, ruling others, taking care of others in a dharmic manner. Acts involving courage and valor are the duties of Kshatriya. The quality of tamas dominates in the Vaishya to the extent agriculture, business, commercial are his duties. And of course, the Shudra, the worker class, has a higher degree of tamas. They perform work, they have Rajasa Gunam also. They are hard working. And all of them are equal in the eyes of the Lord. There are no sides in a round planet. He is equal. So the term Chaturvarnyam refers to all human beings. And does Bhagavan create only these four? He alone is the creator. So Srishtam, he says, I have created. Creation stands in Bhagavan alone performs the act of creation, the protection and dissolution. He performs protection directly by himself, and he delegates the Chaturmukha Brahma to give birth to the beings, to create these beings. He delegates as an indweller. He delegates as an indweller through Rudra for the destruction, for the dissolution. So we will talk about that. So the four classes have been created by me according to the gradations of the gunas, according to the karmas, according to their duties. Though I authored this creation, I created this creation, I am the non-agent, immutable. I am not affected by their actions. He is not bounded by their karma. If they wrongly do their work, if we Brahmins do not do what we are supposed to do, we incur papams. We cannot say he is the one created like this. He is responsible. I never asked for. He is the one who is my antaryami and makes me do all these things. Without him, nothing works, right? So it is he who is making me do. So he is responsible. We cannot say. We will not be able to say it because he is the witness. He facilitates us to continue to do what we begin to do. We take one minor step forward based on our discriminatory power, based on our understanding, based on our conscience. That is why he gives us jnana. He blesses us with the jnana. He blesses us with the birth. He blesses us with the duties. And if we are not supposed to, if we don't do what we are supposed to do, we cannot blame him. He gives us the knife. If I say that I use that knife to kill somebody or cut myself, I cannot blame somebody else for giving me the knife. I should use that knife to cut vegetable, cut the fruit, cut and cook and for eating those vegetables and the fruit. If I use the knife to murder somebody or kill myself, I cannot blame the person who gives me the knife. He is not to be blamed. I am the culprit for abusing the one which I am blessed with. Same case, there is a boat given to us, which is this Sariram. And with this boat, we should be able to cross the ocean of samsara by learning, by being in this birth, by following the Dharma Sastrams, by following what we should do and what we should not given this birth. We should not say, I am born like this, I should have been born that, I should have been done this, I should not be born a female, I should not be born a male, I should have been born in UK. No question, we are just what we are given. And how we make use of that is what is to be understood here. So we cannot blame at all someone else for these things. We cannot squarely blame on anyone else. We are to be blamed. So the four classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or the collection of four classes have been created by me, Krishna says. So this is the text of record given by sage Aururvar to King Sagaran on these four classes. So we should make use of this to cross the ocean of samsara by following the do's and don'ts of the respective class in which we are born. We didn't choose our birth, we cannot choose our death, we cannot choose our parents, we cannot choose anything. It's like a small rope tied to the cow. The freedom that the cow has within that 5-meter radius rope, that's all we have. So within that, what we should do? So Valluvar says, Piravi Peringadal Ninduvar, Nindar Iraivanadi Sheradar. The one who has not surrendered, one who has not held on to the lotus feet of Perumal, Iraivan, would not cross the ocean of samsara. So who will cross? That one who has held on to the feet of Perumal will cross. So that is understood in that Quran. Piravi Peringadal Ninduvar. They will swim across. When he says they will not swim across if they have not held on to the lotus feet. Iraivanadi Sheradar Nindar. What a beautiful way he gives in just 1.5 or 1.75 lines. So nicely the essence of our Sanatana Dharma, the Sharanagati Tattvam. So we should not let this birth be drained through the fingers. We should not let it go. We should hold on to it, hold on to the lotus feet of the Lord. Never ever waste your time, because the time is precious. It would not wait for anyone. So here we talked about Brahmacharyam last week, and then Grahasthashram we also talked about. That Grahastha should be able to offer help, should be able to help the Brahmachari as well as the Sannyasi, because Grahastha is earning the livelihood for his family as well as for the community, for the society. At least some percentage should be given as a donation, as a dhanam to the have-nots. So they should also recite the Vedams. They should also help the Bhagavatas. They should also help the poor, the needy ones. So by doing that, by honoring the guests, they are getting punya, and they would get a better position. So I'm just reminded of a story which says there is a drama in which the director says that you are going to act like a tree in this drama. Then that person was so upset that he does not have any role except standing like a tree, in a still manner. There is another one who needs to sit below the tree and needs to talk to two others as a guru to the shishya, and he should be able to teach sloka, and the other person needs to repeat another role. There is one more role who comes in like a king, and he comes and pay pranamams, namaskarams to this guru, and he gives some lines, he talks. So a small scene, skit. So the director says whoever performs very well in this skit would be promoted to a better role in the next skit. Means the same skit will be staged tomorrow in another city, and that time if the tree actor performs very well without moving his eyelid, without moving his body, if he performs very well, I would promote him to be the king. If the Guru performs badly and if he does not even remember the slokam, I would make him the tree. So the same thing, analogy, we should equate to God. All that he is doing is all the world's a stage. Shakespeare says, it's all a stage. We are all acting in the drama. You do your role very well. You perform with excellently. You get an Oscar award and you will be promoted to a much better role in the next birth. The same drama in another city, another body, you will be able to do. And if you fail there, again come back here. Again be a mosquito in this drama. So, how to get rid of this vicious cycle? Hold on to the lotus feet of the Lord. Sharanagati. So here, one, we talk about the Grahasthashrama Dharma. After Brahmacharya, after Grahasthashrama, then comes Vanaprastha Dharma. I don't know whether many people follow that today, but however, we should try to do it in a pseudo Vanaprastha manner. That once you are in my age, like me, you should detach yourself from running behind anything and everything in this world. Try to seclude yourself. தெரித்தெழுது வாசித்தும் கேட்டும் வணங்கி வழிபட்டும் பூசித்தும் போக்கினேன் போது. You should pass time by learning, by teaching, by listening, by reading, by prostrating, by praying, and offering flowers. Try to spend time in a sattvic manner, and of course involve your spouse. That is Vanaprastha. So try to live simple and don't go for creature comforts, and all these things follow as much as possible in accordance with Shastras. Here Vanaprastham says you have to proceed to the forest along with your spouse or without your spouse, as the case may be. If she doesn't want to come, let her stay with her children. You move on. If she wants to come, no, fine, take her. So both are acceptable here. But of course, taking her or she taking him should not forbid or should not decelerate, retard your growth. Of course, we ourselves are the retardation for our growth, deceleration for our growth. We become our own bottleneck. So there, once we go, we should live on the vegetables, the fruits, and then live simple in the forest. Of course, we can go to Naimisharanyam and have a cool weather there and be happy, live there in Naimisharanyam, which is also the forest. So in all three times we need to perform the Trikala Sandhyavandanam, Karma Anushtanam, Agnihotram, Vaishwadevam, all those things which are prescribed in Annikam, the daily rituals we should do. And then of course the Sannyasa Dharma. We don't have to renounce everything and become a recluse, but Sannyasa Dharma is very strictly one needs to follow. The Shastra says if you are a Grahastha, you can do hundreds of papams to protect your family. Still it is forgiven by the Lord because you are only taking care of your family in accordance with Dharma. In the process you are committing so many apacharams, aparadams, mahapapams. Still it is ticked off, forgiven. However, in the Sannyasa Dharma, one should not do any mistake. They should strictly adhere to the Sannyasa Dharma, and which is quite very austere. And if people can become from Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. There are people who have taken from Brahmacharyam right to Sannyasa, Sannyasashram, right from the Brahmacharyam to Sannyasa. Sannyasi should be equipoised, should be equal, should be impartial to every being. There are no favorites for Sannyasi. There are no hatred to Sannyasi. So Sannyasashram is so wonderful. It's like a fire. He has a tejas. He always contemplates on the Lord's lotus feet. He always performs tapas. He always meditates and japam. They do millions of times japam. So any chance, any opportunity you get to prostrate at the feet of sannyasi, never ever leave, never ever lose the opportunity. We will stop here. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Dhanyosmi.